This is a tutorial to kind of show you a little bit about the program Snap and Read, which is a text-to-speech reader and also provides highlighting function and vocabulary leveling for students with disabilities. And so as we take a look here, Snap and Read has an extension in Google Chrome. It does not, however, have an extension for Safari, so just kind of keep that in mind if that's your preferred browser. I'm going to go ahead and turn Snap and Read on. And as I turn Snap and Read on, I see these options of possibly showing an outline. I can also look at removing distractions, which I'll try in a second. Different options, so I can look at the different text highlighting options that I have, the volume of the reader, the speed of the reader, and the words that I want to simplify. And so let's take a look here. Go back here. Let's take a look at this New York Times article that I have. And you'll see here, I have a reading aloud. I also have a drag and drop where I can have this read to me. So I can now read that as it highlights. So this is using OCR, or optical character recognition software.
In Denmark, the rare soft sites, CIS rooms flu II of students. One Danish elementary schools have become the first in Europe after shutting down for the coronavirus. Our reporter Visite, .jf Southern Denmark, which could become a template for a post-lockdown world.
Now we can see that this is not perfect software. However, it does show us some of the capability. Now we also have this option of a line guide, so which we could change the coloring on, but it will show us exactly what the student is reading, and they can move it up and down. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And so maybe I want to add to my outline here. I'm just going to highlight it. Okay, so let's take a look here. So you can see here that I want to have just my Denmark, I'll call this Denmark article. And then I can start making notes, and I can also see the sources when it starts popping in. So if I want to cite this, go to APA, and it will give me a citation maker that I can use. Now, let's go ahead and go back. Now, what's interesting about this software as well, and I'm going to close the outliner, is this little text leveling option. So if I highlight here, let me go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, if I highlight, now the highlighting is a little sketchy sometimes, but I'm going to take that, and it's not going to see where the letters are italicized. Those are words that have been changed and made to levels for the level of the student. And I can click on those words here, and I can see the original words: pandemic versus widespread disease, group of schools, way of teaching, education system, sickness that spreads, contagion. Now what's interesting here is it would be preferable for me to know what the original word was, because this looks exactly like the original word. Now for a student that's in a class that we don't want it to stick out that they're the ones using the leveled reading software, it's beneficial. However, for me as a reader on my own, it would be helpful if I were able to see if I've actually leveled that word down. Now let's just take a look at a Spanish option. So this is El País, which is a newspaper coming out of Spain. Okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, go down to the bottom. So let's take a look here. Okay, so we got pocas horas después de que el gobierno de México decretara la emergencia. Okay, now you see all these ads are getting in my way. So what I'm going to do here to make my life easier is I'm going to remove these distractions. Ay, qué bueno. Entonces, now I can actually see pocas horas después de que el gobierno de México decretara la emergencia sanitaria por el coronavirus. So what I'm going to do here is just see if I can have this be read aloud to me now in English, which I don't see that source actually very easy for me. So let's try the options and translate into English. but it's not popping up. So that's another issue with the program. It's not completely intuitive. Okay. But if we go back to here where it allows me to remove distractions, again, I can see, and let's see what happens when we read aloud.
Pocas horas después de que el gobierno de Mexico decretara
Absolutely
la
not. That
emergencia
is not
sanitaria.
going to work for us. So the Spanish version, while it has the ability to translate, clearly is not as easy to use. Now I can take a look at a PDF file that it allowed me to upload, and I can do the same thing. I can select text, and you can see, even though I'm going from the top down, um, it's a little difficult to use. But I can still do the text highlighting, so I can see exactly the line that I'm on. I can also use optical character recognition software to highlight what it is that I want. And this works really nicely if I'm reading an older document or PDF that does not have
Achievement
embedded
motivation theorists attempt to
software.
explain people's choice of achievement tasks, persistence on those tasks, vigor in carrying them out, and performance on
Now,
them.
as it's reading that aloud, I'm the one that's moving the yellow highlighted mark. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Now let's try leveling that text and see what happens. So when I level the text in a PDF, now that information is off to the side. And so it's a little more difficult to work with, I think, because I've got to go up and down, it's smaller text, and I might end up actually using my screen software so that I can actually see that better. Okay. And then the other thing is that when we start using PDFs like Heidegger, who wrote Being in Time, it gets a little more difficult because we might have some embedded Greek here, and the system has absolutely
Y. Yavtop.axla1tfp.
has no idea what to do with that. Okay. Um, and so Snap and Read, I think, would be a very beneficial program here for somebody that is in late elementary, middle school, high school, and possibly even at the college level. There's some great tools here for grad school, especially the leveling at maybe possibly some of the beginning textbooks. However, once we start getting into research, philosophy, and peer reviewed articles, it doesn't hold up as well. And so at that point, I might recommend going for something like Natural Reader, which also allows you to work on the internet instead of having to be embedded into your computer. Okay, so I hope that this gives you a basic overview of Snap and Read, and please feel free to comment in the area below.